So for today, I'm going to talk about 5 tips on how to keep clients and how to make yourself stand out. So I went ahead and I posted a poll on my channel on my Instagram page, and I had a couple different topics, and I allowed you guys to kind of choose which ones you wanted covered. And basically a majority of you chose this specific topic along with, I believe it was like 2 or 3 other topics that came pretty close, but I wanted to cover this topic first. And this topic is how to keep clients and how to stand out. So I have 5 tips. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible because I know we all have busy lives and I do tend to talk a lot sometimes. So this is going to help me just stick to the point and to the topics and get those tips out for you. That way you can hopefully implement them into your existing business. And some of them you may have heard before, maybe you haven't, but if you have or you haven't, I really hope that you can use these as a way to truly have a switch that flips on and you just kind of really like, oh my gosh, that really makes sense, that really resonates with me, and I really just want you to know that I'm here to help you and guide you in any way. By no means, I haven't been an esthetician for that long, but I have been an esthetician for 5 years, so I've had my fair share of ups and downs and mistakes. So these are my personal tips and my opinions and what has helped me continue to keep my clients and stand out. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so at one point I did have employees and I was mentoring them and I wanted to guide them on figuring out exactly what it is they want to do. Because we all go to school as estheticians thinking that we're going to do skincare, and some of us do that, which is awesome, and some of us don't because we just feel completely lost. So with that being said, my first tip and question for you is, what do you want to be known for? So you may be a new esthetician watching this. You may have been an esthetician for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, maybe even 12 years and on, or who knows. Whatever it is, if you are at a point in your business where you just feel like you're just at like a stop and you don't know what to do to move forward, or you're kind of just at a block in the road, basically, my number one tip and question that I always ask is, what do you want to be known for as an esthetician? For some of you, that might be simple. You're like, oh, I want to be known for skincare. I want to be known for eyelash extensions. Oh, I want to be known for eyebrows or this or that. So once you figure that out, and maybe you already know that or you don't know that, once you figure it out, then that can kind of lead you more into the direction of standing out. So this is the very, very vague video because it's, I don't want to go into much detail, but if you want me to go into more detail with each topic, I can. And so once you figure that out, then my best advice is you need to spend at least 1 to 2 years perfecting that specific service. Now, in a perfect world, if I had it my way when I first started, I would have only focused on one thing, which was eyelash extensions. It took a little bit of time to get there, but once I got there, I focused on that for a really, really long time, and I became known for classic eyelash extensions specifically. And then from there, I was able to branch off and add other services into my business. Now, eyelash extensions was not at all what I wanted to do because, like I said in the beginning, usually as an esthetician, you go into beauty school so that you can focus on skincare and on skin. For me, I was that esthetician that was completely lost. So I did all these things and took all these extra courses and classes, and then finally kind of just stuck to eyelash extensions. I wasn't really offered that in school. Had I been offered it in school or had it been in the curriculum, I'm sure that I would have, kind of gravitated to that a lot sooner. But I always wanted to do skincare, and that's what I went to school for. And it took me basically about 3 years or so before I could actually focus on skincare. And the reason why this tip and this question is so important is because we all go to beauty school thinking that we're going to do one thing and then end up doing something else, or being completely lost and going in a completely different direction. And so because of that, it makes us feel unmotivated. It makes us feel like we're not doing good enough, like we're not good enough. And so if you don't establish that in the beginning, even if you're an esthetician watching this and you're in beauty school or thinking about going to beauty school, you have to understand and know what it is that you want to be known for in this industry, because there's so many estheticians and there's so many services, and there's always a new thing coming up, a new machine, a new skincare product, whatever product that it is, there's always going to be something new. And so if you're not standing out and you're not focusing on one specific service, then you are gonna kind of fall behind. Now, in a perfect world, like I said, focusing on one service is going to be your ideal driving factor to making you stand out, because you're just going to perfect that craft. But because there's so many services, I know that that's hard. So realistically, anywhere from 1 to 3 services is what I would recommend. 3 is even pushing it. I always say 1 or 2 services, whether it's like eyelash extensions and skincare, or skincare and eyebrows, whatever it is, at least 1 to 2 services. If you feel like you're getting traction on those specific 2 services, then throw in that 3rd service that you have an interest in. But because when we're in beauty school, we don't really get to perfect all of that. It's kind of just like go, 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 and like knocking things out and then moving on, and then we're done. And then we're just kind of set free into the world to go and do whatever it is that we think that we want to do, but we haven't established that question, what we want to be known for. And then once you're able to figure out what you want to be known for, that's when you're going to basically, so to speak, figure out who your competition is in your area. Because maybe they've been doing something for a lot longer than you, or maybe they're just starting off as well too, but they're just at a higher advanced skill level because maybe they put in more work, or because it just comes more naturally to them. Or some of us, we do have to try a little bit harder and practice a little bit more, or with others, it just comes naturally. And whatever level you're on, it doesn't mean that you're a bad or a good esthetician. It just means that you're just at that level and you're just gonna keep going and advancing from there. Okay, 2nd tip. Once you figure out what you wanna be known for, the next thing is, who is your target clientele? Now, I know that that's kind of like, oh, well, like I already know that, or I like, duh. But no, like you really, really, really need to understand and know who is your target clientele. There's a lot of factors that go into this, which I'm sure most of you know: your location, the demographic, their monthly incomes. You know, those are the biggest things that you need to take into consideration. But the next level of that is, who really is your target clientele? So let's just use skincare, for example. If you are somebody that's focusing on skincare services, going back to what you want to be known for, if you're doing skincare, are you going to be known for acne? Okay, let's use acne. If you're going to be known for acne, is it going to be acne on just teens? Is it going to be acne on young adults? Is it going to be acne on what I call responsible adults? Is it going to be acne on adults? And so teens for me is 16 to 18. Young adults is 18 to 25. Responsible adults is 25 to 30. And then adults is 30 and up. And so a lot of those different types of age groups, you know, one, if it's teens, usually it's their parents that are paying for the services and for the products. And so, yeah, that's a little bit more of wiggle room, because it's the parents paying for it. If they really care about their kid and they want their kid to have clear skin, then they're going to pay for it. But it could be like maybe they have a lot of kids and they can't afford certain things. So it's like, okay, well, I'm known for this and this is what they can afford. So in a realistic world, I know that this is the amount of kids like a typical family in my area has and what their typical monthly income is. And so this is what my price is going to be. And I'm going to set it at this until I decide to raise it. And then if it's going to be like young adults where it's 18 to 25, majority of them, yeah, maybe some of them still have their parents that are helping them, but a majority of them are working or they're starting off a new job. And so it's not that they can't afford it, they just have to, be more responsible, hopefully, or maybe they just, can't quite afford it. So that audience to me it still needs to be taken care of, but it's not something that maybe you want to focus on because it's a little bit harder. And then your 25 to 30s, kind of similar, they're a little bit more established. They're kind of, done having their crazy times. They're done with college, they're really getting established in their careers. They kind of do have enough money so they can afford this or that. And then the 30 and up is where my market is, because I know that they really truly care about their skin, and that I know that they can afford it, and that I don't have to feel like I need to lower my prices, or that I need to offer constant discounts or do this or that so that I can get my targeted clientele in. And so when you know who your target clientele is, it allows you to market and set your prices so that you can attract and gain those clients and keep those clients, because you're not constantly changing your prices, you're not constantly lowering your prices, and you're not undervaluing and devaluing yourself, and you know exactly what you're treating. If it's acne, if it's pigmentation, if it's a multitude of different skin concerns, then great. But you need to be known for one thing. So I know it's hard to be like, okay, I want to be known for, acne, and it's only going to be in teens. Yeah, you may get bored over time, but if you get really, really good at that, then you can branch off to like adult acne, and then whatever else, if you want to focus on hyperpigmentation at some point, because with acne, obviously you get post-inflammatory erythema or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So that allows you to really focus on just acne, and then you can branch off onto other levels of skincare. Okay, and the third topic is memberships. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this topic because I'm actually going to cover this a lot more in the next video that I do, which was I believe it was like how to get your desired monthly income. So I really want to focus this into that post. So I'm just going to briefly cover this a little bit. If you're not offering a membership, then you're losing out on keeping loyal clients. So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'll leave it at that and let you soak that in and kind of know that that is an important tip that I have, in my opinion. And the reason is because since the very beginning, which was like 5 years ago, I started memberships, and I have never not had a membership. And they have changed over the times, and I've gotten really good at memberships, and I completely understand them, and I feel like they're just so important, especially as a solo esthetician. If you're doing facials, eyelash extensions, eyebrows, whatever it is, if you do not have a membership of some sort, you are losing out on having really, really loyal clients. And so again, I'll talk about that in the next video. I'll let you soak on that topic. Okay, now the fourth topic is your brand. Now, I know a lot of you maybe are kind of starting to understand this. Maybe you already have a brand. Maybe you are trying to figure out what your brand should be. I'm not going to get into too much detail, like I said, but I'm just going to give you a couple of little bullet points on what specifically this means to me, and why I feel like it has helped me stand out as an esthetician, and why I feel like it has allowed me to keep my clients. So again, I'm taking this from my personal experience and giving it to you so you can understand why this has worked for me. So from the very, very beginning, my name, Be Confident Aesthetics, is something that I've absolutely strived to live by. And so the logo may have changed, but the name has never changed, and the meaning behind it has never changed. And so to give you a little bit of a rundown, what it means for me and why I stand behind Be Confident Aesthetics is because I want to give my clients, one, confidence, but two, I am also confident as well too in myself and when I'm giving them a service. And so for me, which is funny as an esthetician, I've never really taken my appearance, as far as feeling like I need to constantly wear makeup and do my hair all the time, as a driving factor as to why it's going to keep clients. Because if you ask any of my clients, majority of the time I'm in really comfortable clothes, my hair is always tied back, and I'm never wearing makeup. I always do my skincare and I have good skin because I work on it. But other than that, they will never really see me always wearing makeup. The only time that I wear makeup is when I do videos like this, or if I have some extra time and I want to do it, then I'll do it. But for me, I feel like makeup is a big reason as to why a lot of people have skin concerns. Not the main factor, but a good reason. And so because of that, I have really just set that as like the forefront of my business. You know, I'm comfortable and in comfortable clothes, and I'm not wearing makeup. And so because of that, I feel like it has allowed my clients to feel like when they come to me, they can come dressed however they want. I'm not going to judge them. I literally don't care what they're wearing, how their hair looks, if they rolled out of bed, whatever it is, I do not care, because they're there to relax and to get a service from me. Whether they're gonna just lay there or fall asleep or we're going to chit chat, they're there because they feel comfortable and they feel confident, and they know that when they come to me that they can just unwind and feel good about themselves and leave feeling even more good about themselves. And so going back into that, I make sure that I'm always positive. And I know that's hard because we all have bad days, but you really have to keep your personal life separate from your work, because you can't allow that to affect your work and how you're feeling, because it's going to really show. Now, for me as a holistic esthetician, it's really, really important that I remain positive and that I'm not negative, because I absorb all of my clients, you know, problems and then their accomplishments, their happy moments, their sad moments. And when they come to me, and I feel like this is a big reason too why they stay with me, they know that they can share things with me. They know that I'm not going to gossip about them, that I'm not going to talk down on them, that I'm not going to judge them, that I'm not just going to be angry all the time or, you know, be unhappy. I try to stay as positive as possible because I want them to, you know, leave whatever negativity or something that upset them that day, leave that here in the treatment room and let me take that, and you go off and just feel better and have a better day. And that is the biggest thing for me as my brand. And now there's a lot of other things that go into that as well too. So I'm just going to kind of read these off because there's kind of like a lot of bullet points here. So if you see me looking down, that's why I'm looking down. So like I said, I'm always positive. And same thing for you. You want to be positive. If you dress a certain way, you know, own that. If you love to get dressed up every day, I personally don't get dressed up every day. When I do get dressed up, you know, it's like a treat for me and my clients, but it's not something that I do every day. So if you love getting dressed up every day, if that makes you feel good, then do it. If you love wearing yoga pants, if you love wearing scrubs, if you love wearing dresses, whatever it is you love to wear it. Don't let all these like professional pictures or like, you know, like a certain type of like attire be like, oh, I have to dress like that, or, you know, I'm not going to get clients, or my clients aren't going to take me seriously. That's not the case at all. When a client comes to you, they want to come to you. They don't want to, you know, come to like a half version of you. They want to come and they want to know that it's you, and that starts with what you're wearing and what your appearance is. And if you wear makeup all the time, great. If you don't, then great. At the end of the day, they're there to get a service from you, and most of the time their eyes are closed, so they're not even seeing what you're wearing, how your hair is, okay? So that's a big thing, is when you dress the way that you feel most comfortable. The other one, which is really important, and we'll talk more about this too in the next video because it kind of ties into memberships, is that you're always really understanding about rebooking and late cancellations and no late fees. Now, don't come at me for that because, like I said, we'll talk about that in the next video. For me, that's been something that's been very vital. Is I'm not like, well, what the heck, like, why are you rescheduling, or like, that's so rude, or you know what, like, I'm gonna charge you like full price, or you know, like, you can't cancel, or you're not allowed to rebook. Like, no, nobody wants to hear that, and that's going to absolutely make your client not want to stay with you. So like I said, we'll talk more about that, but that's a big thing that has allowed my business to remain successful, is because I'm very understanding about life happening. I'm very understanding about late cancellations, even if it's like a minute before. But I know that some of us don't have that luxury, and that's because you don't have memberships. So like I said, we'll talk about that in the next video. And the next one is that you post on social media, which allows people to see, you know, like your before and afters, what your aesthetic is like. If you're posting your prices for your services, they can see that that's there. All of that ties into your brand. And then another big one is I've never really been, you know, great at sales as far as trying to sell something to a client when they don't need it. So I'm not pushy on, you need this specific product or skincare or service or whatever it is. That's something that's going to basically make your clients run, because they're like constantly feeling like they need to purchase something, or that you're going to be upset, or maybe they're that type of client that, you know, like, they don't really know when they think that they do need it, and so they're just going to get it because they trust you. So taking advantage of people in that way is not okay, and eventually it will catch up to you. So that's something that's very important. All right, so hopefully that was enough of your brand, but in a nutshell, it's basically who you are, along with what you're known for and what you show to the world as raw and unfiltered as possible, without being unprofessional and, you know, being negative. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and then the last tip is, you cannot be an esthetician who lets money drive you. That's basically, there's only, in my opinion, two types of estheticians. Estheticians that actually care about this industry and about making people feel better and more confident in themselves, and to somebody who's just doing this because they thought it was fun, and you know, they see that there's a lot of people making money, and so they just want to make all the money too. These people, they will only go so far, and they will crash and burn eventually. These people are going to continue to go up, which means that the money is going to continue to come in. You have to have a passion for this industry. So like I said, this may sound crazy, because obviously we all need to make an income to pay our bills, and you know, for monthly things as far as business, like expenses. But as an esthetician, if you are going into this industry, or you went into this industry, and you are money driven, you are going to completely fail, and this is not the industry for you. This industry is very special, especially as estheticians, because we are just so involved in healing our clients. And if you don't know how to do that, it's one, because you know, you just haven't found that service or that path that allows you to do that, or two, because you're money driven, and so you're just constantly fixated on the money, not on helping and healing your clients. So if you're not excited about this industry, if you're not excited about the services that you're doing, if you're not excited to go to work every day, if you're not excited when you see your clients, if you're not excited in general about what you're doing as an esthetician, this is not the industry for you. And I will say this, that take this as your sign that you definitely need to find another career path, because you're not going to be successful. Every esthetician that is successful will tell you that, especially as someone who has had employees, who has been solo, who has taken classes that I didn't need, who went to a school and then got out of school and felt lost. During that whole time, to me, I didn't think oh, I need to do this for the money. I thought like I need to do this, one, for myself, and two, when I do this for myself, it's going to allow me to help other people. And helping other people has always been a driving factor in anything that I do. And so customer service is very, very important. And if you do not have good customer service, it's more than likely because you do not have a passion for this industry and a passion for what you're doing in this industry. And so let me give you a little bit of examples on what I mean about not being money driven. Some things that I see every now and then in the industry and what I've seen in the past when I had employees or when I worked with other people, when I mentored other people and stuff. So number one thing is, like, a big pet peeve of mine is when your client is done with the service and they get up and you just charge them and be like, how do you want to pay? Like, let's get you paid. Like, let's check out now. Like, just give me your money. That's the number one sign of a money-driven person. So if that's kind of something that you do, maybe you're not aware that it's kind of like a negative thing. And, you know, I did that at some points, you know, where I was like, okay, like, let me just like get their payment kind of thing. But I quickly realized, like, why am I worried about this? Like, they're going to pay for their service regardless. Let them unwind after they get their service done. So a way to kind of fix that is, instead of asking for the payment, just ask if they would like to rebook now, or, you know, maybe they're not ready to book right away. I usually ask, oh, would you like to book now, or do you want to get back to me and text me your schedule? Majority of the time they do rebook then, which then leads into them at that point kind of unwinding because we've taken a look at the schedule. They've kind of like relaxed. Even though they were just relaxing, they've moved from one space to another space, which should always be like a chair of some sort or somewhere where they can sit. And then they've checked their schedule, they rebooked with you, and now they're ready to pay. So it's like on them, they're ready to pay. You're not just taking the money from them. You're allowing them to just flow completely out of their service and out of your room. You're not just pushing them and grabbing the money and pushing them out. And then another one that I want to quickly cover within being money driven is a big thing that I'm sure a lot of people kind of always struggle with, and that's with whether or not someone tips you. So the biggest three reasons why I've seen why maybe you're not being tipped, or maybe why I haven't gotten tipped in the past, which again has never really been an indication of like my worth as an esthetician. I just kind of have pondered it in the past and wondered, because you kind of have to wonder, because when you try and make adjustments and, you know, obviously, you know, increasing your prices and making positive cash flow is essential to growing your business, you have to kind of take in all the factors. And so tips was one of the things that I looked at, and these are the things that I came up with why someone might not tip you. Now, the biggest one is I've had a few people ask me like if they're even supposed to tip, you know, in this industry. And so because of that, they might think that they don't need to tip because they're just paying for the service in a way, like if they're paying for like a face wash, so to speak, versus like, you know, when you go to a restaurant, they're giving you food and they're making the food, and it's just like custom to tip in like a restaurant industry, where in our industry it kind of just is like, oh, like, do I tip, do I not tip, because I'm just like paying for the product, versus like, you know, they're doing all the cooking and doing all the things. And so yeah, it makes sense on one end and it doesn't make sense on the other end, because it's still a service industry. And so that's kind of like the gray area where people might not think that they need a tip. And so if you don't establish that in your verbiage when you're either texting clients or talking to clients, then maybe they're just not going to know that they need a tip. And like I said, I'll talk about this in the next video as well too, and go into more detail on that specific bullet point. Another thing that I've noticed is that they might think that the tip is included in the service. And so if it is included in your service, then you need to make that known, because that just eliminates that confusion where they're like, oh, maybe it's in the service because it's priced like this much, and so that's pretty high, so maybe it's just in there. And if it's not in your service, then you also kind of need to make that known, which ties into that first bullet point that I hit. So we'll talk more about that in the next one. And then the last one, which I caught on to this pretty easily and saw this as like, oh, okay, like that makes sense, is especially when it's a new client and they're first coming to you, even if it's like a month or 2 months, you know, they are still trying to understand like if you're the esthetician for them. And so they're not going to continue and fully invest in you until they know that you've kind of really brought them in and you truly are going to take care of them. And so that's just kind of how I saw it, as like when somebody's not tipping right away, it's because they still want to fill me out. I'm still kind of filling them out as a client. And then it gets to a point where like that relationship is established and they're like, okay, like I truly like this person. Like I feel like they deserve this tip. And so I'm going to tip them. And so I've kind of had clients that have done that in the past, and it made me feel good because I was like, okay, like I really showed them that I truly care about them, and now they see that I really truly do have value, and the way that they're rewarding me is by now giving me a tip, and they continue to give you that tip, and then, you know, it just continues to grow that way. Another thing that I noticed is that's really important as far as not being money driven is if you do get tips from clients, don't expect them to always give you, you know, like $5 or $10 or $20 like at every service, or don't expect them, you know, to like increase the tip amount at some point. You have to allow them to, you know, which sounds kind of like rude, like because they're gonna think like, oh, I don't need them to, you know, show me, I don't need them to tell me like how valuable I am. That's not true at all. Like your clients are everything. And when they give you a certain tip, like say they've been giving you like $5 every time they come in, and then like all of a sudden they start to give you $10, you should like thank them whichever way they pay you, whether it's like through Venmo or, you know, through Apple Pay or through cash or check or whatever it is. Obviously you're going to thank them, which I know that you guys know that, but two, you really have to reflect and think like, wow, like I really appreciate what they've done for me, and just put that positivity back out there and see that as a way to know that you truly are making an impact, so much so that they felt that you truly deserved, you know, $10 now as a tip versus $5. And sometimes too, they will stop tipping, and that's okay as well too, because you have your set prices, and if it's something where you need $105, then put that in your service as the tip, you know, that $5. Otherwise, if you are just doing a flat $100 for like a service of whatever, then just leave it at that. Don't expect more, especially when you're not giving more. Don't expect more. So I said that I wasn't going to talk a lot, but I felt like I did talk a lot, and at the same time I feel like I didn't go into that much detail. So if you're watching this video and it's kind of choppy at some points, that's because there were points that I was trying to make, but then I realized that I was kind of going off on a tangent and just talking into too much detail. So I have to like chop it up and give you like the core tips and the most valuable information. So again, thank you so much for watching this. I truly, truly hope that you are able to take something from this video and utilize it in your business, and allow this video to kind of give you like a wake-up call, flip a switch like I said, and really take these tips seriously, whether you've heard them before or you haven't heard them before. And if you have heard them before, hopefully this is a different perspective and you can, you know, really resonate with them and see why these 5 tips are really, really important, and why they're one, going to make you stand out, and two, they're going to allow you to keep your existing clients. because a lot of people focus on like, oh, I need to get new clients, and then they forget about their existing clients, and their existing clients may be like their loyal clients that have been there from day one, and then they just forget about them because they're so focused on trying to get all the new clients that you're forgetting to nurture and like take care of your existing clients, and then soon they're gonna like trickle off and, you know, fall off, and then all these new clients that come in, they're just gonna like pass by and leave versus like staying, because you're just always so focused on like trying to get the next client in. So that's my biggest pet peeve, is when people don't nurture what they have and they don't appreciate what they have. And I think that's a really vital piece of information that people really need to kind of just sit down and like soak and absorb and understand, that you have to nurture what you have, and you have to care about what you have and be grateful for what you have, and keep being positive for yourself and for your business, and then, you know, more will come into your life. And yeah, I'm going off on a tangent again. All right, so I hope these tips helped you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'm going to make more YouTube videos because it seems to be the easiest way for me. Like I said, I can edit quickly, post it on here, and then you guys can come and watch it. If you have any input, or you liked anything, or you want me to cover more, then just leave that in the comments down below, because I noticed when I made my channel on my Instagram that you guys actually can't like talk back to me. I can only do posts, and you can like vote on the, or I can only do polls and you can vote on the polls, but you can't like talk or message me, and you can't really do anything else besides, you know, vote on a poll or like a message that I've sent or a memo. So hopefully this kind of gives you some outlet to kind of actually write back and tell me if you like this video, if you like this setup, if you want something different, if you do want a Zoom video, if you want handouts, if you want worksheets, if you want something else, whatever I can do to help you. I love research, I love educating, and I love giving my knowledge, because I feel like there's enough people to go around and enough clients to go around. So when you're giving back, it's not only good for you, but it's good for everyone, and it allows this industry to be a community and not be just competition all the time. A little competition never hurt anybody, but when we gather together as a community, it just makes everything flow so much better, and there's just so much more support, and it really kind of weeds out those money-driven people, and it keeps these people that are really passionate in the industry, that are truly going to make a difference. So again, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any input or anything else you want me to talk about, leave that in the comments, and I appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you guys next month for the next video, which is going to be on how to gain your desired monthly income. All right, have a good rest of your week. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye, Esty Besties.